Okay, welcome back to the channel. This is day 5 of Vlogtober, and I am a day late because this is the 6th of October. And, excuse me, I guess I can go to my auxiliary instead of SuperSource. So this is day 5 of Vlogtober, and Vlogtober is where I shoot and edit something every day. And I forgot my glasses over here, so I'll have to squint. I didn't do it yesterday. I ended up running my little toe into a metal table leg, and I broke it. It's all black, and it kind of put me off on doing anything yesterday. It's fine now. It's the morning of the 6th, and so I am going to go ahead and do my Vlogtober. My name is Don, and you're on the Stream Bigger YouTube channel. So I just want to do this for a few minutes, jump into it, show you how I get ideas for creating YouTube thumbnails. And yeah, let's go ahead. Right now I'm using, I might as well tell you some of the tools that I'm using, since I sound like some presidential candidate repeating themselves over and over. So I'm using the Pocket 3. I decided not to use the DJI Mic 2 for audio because I wanted to experiment with the Comica audio going into a USB interface, which is going into the OBS software. And yeah, the switcher I'm trying, it's the OC GoStream, and I'm using SuperStream on this one, and that will allow me to switch back and forth, or have, I don't really understand. I mean, I understand what SuperStream is, and but is it really worth it? I mean, this SuperStream seems to be quite limited in what it can do, but that's probably just me because I want it to do more than what it should be able to do. So you'll see what I'm saying. Right now I have me on one side when I go to the SuperStream, and on the other side I'm going to have that. And basically that's my iPad. When I go into SuperStream and I try to do things like mask out the edges, bring the edges in, it looks like crap. No matter what I do, and maybe that might be some of the limitations of using the iPad to do my my SuperStream, or going into the mixer through the video switcher through the HDMI. The iPad has its own ideas on how it takes the video out to another source. So yeah, it's fine. It works, and I'll continue to make it a little bit better. Let's see, too close to that. I guess let's get into it. I have audio going into the OBS, and I did do a couple of filters to it, so hopefully it sounds better than what it has in the past. Not too sure. I guess I'll find out once it's done. Audio is definitely not something I enjoy doing. I find it to be tedious, and I know that I can take audio. I have a lot of different ways of getting audio into this computer. I have XLRs, which maybe next time, instead of doing the Comica boom mic, wireless mic, or the DJI mic, I might have the XLR, and we'll see how that sounds, because I can take XLR into, that actually might be a good idea. So bear with me. This is only going to be for a few minutes. Like, comment, and subscribe, yada yada, that kind of stuff. As you see, I'm not really interested in doing today, but I'm making myself do it because it's, at least I'm not interested in doing this morning. But I just wanted to get on here and do a quick video on showing you how I go through coming up with ideas for my YouTube thumbnails. And to give a little bit of background, I went to school for fine art many years ago at this point, in graphic design before I moved into video production. But I've always been kind of graphic design oriented, and ChatGPT has been amazing for helping me get ideas on my YouTube, my thumbnails. And it also allows me, because I'm an okay artist, but I don't have time to sit down and paint everything. And if I can tell this to, say, put a corgi in a hoodie and make something like that my thumbnail, then I'm happy to do that. It has to be dynamic, and I go through a lot of different styles. So bear with me as we go through this. And I do kind of like this kind of stuff, but let me pull this over a little bit so I'm kind of facing. So this is my prompt, and I know you can't read it. It's because, one, it's video and it's on YouTube. So in ChatGPT, I asked it to generate a thumbnail for a show called Edit With Me, make it simple and dynamic, with a dynamic composition using retro Russian propaganda from World War II post art. This series, I will take the video project. I'll be editing on live stream. But the reason I say Russian propaganda is because I enjoy that kind of look. I enjoy the colors, the compositions. To me, there's just a boldness to the way they did this, and I guess that's why they did it, is because it expresses power. The only problem with that is when you say World War II and Russian propaganda, you have a tendency to get guns and their uniforms in every single one, every single image, no matter how you, no matter how many prompts. And this is mostly because it's doing pattern recognition, and the overall patterns that it sees when it looks up, or when it brings up Russian propaganda, are posters with certain elements, repeating elements, and because of that, I get the repeating elements in ChatGPT. I like them, but I have to figure out. And then there's another repeating element which I find odd, is this right here. I have no idea what it is. It shows up a lot, and it's usually like a floating pin or something. And I love it, but at the same time, it's not useful. But it is giving me ideas, and let's go ahead and let's see. Okay, try again. I want some retro style, but I do not want it to be war propaganda. That's my prompt. This is for YouTube called Edit With Me, where I edit video. And oftentimes with the thumbnails, you have to repeat yourself. You have to set the parameters of your thumbnail over and over. In this case, I need to tell it that it's for a YouTube thumbnail, Edit With Me, and that it's live streaming, and that has certain other characteristics that will continue to flow through, because I won't say ChatGPT will forget, but it will literally take what you're saying and make a prompt to that, forgetting everything else that you are, or ignoring what you said before, because that's not part of the prompt. The revised, as you can see, still holding on to uniforms and things like that. But I absolutely love, I mean, look at this. That's exciting to me. And I know it's not everybody's thing. And you have to ask it to sometimes define what war is, and what makes, why is there a gun in there, and that kind of stuff. And for here, I say, okay, you have war propaganda with a guy in a uniform who's editing. Can you remove it? I want it to be more retro, 1960s Marvel comic inspired. That's another uh, uh, inspiration, because since I was a small child in the 70s, not the 60s, but the 70s, and I've read plenty of Marvel comics from the 60s. That style of Jack Kirby, oh, Don Perlin, for some reason I can't remember my artist at the moment. And it's because I'm talking on camera and it's morning and I'm tired. Um, so we move on to you know the retro style with the comic books, and mind you, this is supposed to be me editing or whatever. This is for live streaming, so it does this. That pin shows up over and over in every single thing. I mean, in so many of these, there's a floating pin, and I asked ChatGPT why. Eventually, I start to see a pattern, and I asked why is there a floating pin, and it said that the material that it references from has an element like that in there, which makes me wonder, where is it getting that information? Because if you're editing on a computer, there's no, well, there shouldn't be a floating pin, period, in the material. So I just find it interesting. I also find it interesting in this particular one. It put a female randomly. Love the art, love the style. Um, ChatGPT needs to stay away from text as much as it can because it is not good at it. Yeah, but look, I mean, that's just dynamic. Love it. I like it, but there's a floating pin in the air. Is this this is video editing on a computer, so usually we don't have any pins involved. They are not, and they are not hovering. So remove the pin, redo it, don't put a woman in it. If anything, you can put a corgi in it, just like we've done in the past. I have a corgi theme, because I have an affection for corgis. I had a corgi for 15 years. And obviously that has inspired me and stayed with me for many more years. Um, I appreciate the corgi look, and again, this is where you have to repeat the retro 1960s Marvel comic style, and this is what it came up with. That's another thing that actually all these AI generators do, is they make dogs cute a lot, and I don't really know why it does that, but you have to tell it to make it look serious or to make it look angry. Um, yeah, I like this for the most part. I mean, it's definitely got a more comic book feel, although the corgi is floating. I have no idea what this thing is. Uh, I think it resembles the pin. So, yeah, it's kind of nice. Not what I'm looking for. I like it, but the corgi, I want the corgi to be in place of the man or woman. The corgi should be editing the software because I represent myself as the image of a corgi, and it does that. And we get big bright-eyed corgi again. Uh, Only this time, for whatever reason, it latched onto the Marvel-inspired theme, um, and included the name Marvel in my my in the generated image. Okay, um, it doesn't work. I don't. I mean, I'm not Marvel. I'm not editing Marvel. I do like the corgi though. It's too cute, but that's pretty nice. And I like the boldness of the image. Let's go on to the next one. Okay, so here's an updated. Yeah, I like it, but why did you put the name Marvel in it? I didn't ask for that. I want no text in it at all. And that's another thing. Once ChatGPT starts to put text in your images, it's almost impossible to get it to remove it. And it'll keep putting it in different ways over and over. And then as soon as you think that you finally got it out, where chat won't do that, won't keep putting it in, it'll put it back in. And not even good text either. It's just, I mean, it doesn't know how to spell, for one thing. I think that's a YYO. Editing SDIT, whatever that is. Not sure why the YouTube is kind of butchered right there. I like the corgi. Don't like the stippling on the paws. These speakers are ridiculous. And what is this? Why? This I find interesting right here. I don't get why it decided to suddenly make a half man, half dog. Yeah, it just chat just does strange things like that. It'll throw things in. I mean, the rest of it is pretty darn cool. But okay, and I like it, but I still want to I still want to keep adding text to it. I don't want any text anywhere at any time. So that might be my fault right there, because obviously I was typing it. I want it to be 1960, 16, whatever. Inspired by Marvel. I want Dutch angle. I want flat colors. I want a corgi representing the video editor. Blah, blah, blah. And that's what it gave me. And for whatever reason, it went back to incorporating our Russian propaganda, I guess. And look who's back. Isn't that amazing? Where is that pin from? Where is chat getting that it's generating these images and it keeps putting a floating pin somewhere in the image, not connected to anything or anybody? The corgi is not using it. It's not used for the computer. It's not sitting on the desk. It's literally just floating in the air. And let's see. Okay, I like the direction. However, you put the pin floating or hovering behind the corgi again. I'm not sure why you keep doing this. I need some space to add my own text. Make it inspired by 1960s retro Marvel Comics flash page. I want it to be at a, should have been deep angle. The must be tilted to about 25 degrees. Composition dynamic, exciting, corgi. And let's go back to, I like this one. This one is actually exciting. It doesn't leave me any room to put in my own text, but I should be able to, using Adobe Express, which, you know, I hate to say I like that particular piece of software, particularly on the iPad. And I know Adobe has been put through the ringer lately because of their intrusiveness into people's lives, into people's products. But it's good. So I can easily remove the corgi, the background from the corgi, put the two together and put text in. It's fine. Like how I sped through that. Like that one, now using that as a template. Now here's another thing. So once you find an image that you're pleased with and you want to create more in that series, I found in chat it's almost impossible, because chat will never, won't say never, but it doesn't let go. It'll keep bringing things up that you, I don't know what it is. You can even upload an image and ask it to generate something inspired by that image, and it'll do it, but it'll completely forget eventually what that image was, and it'll start adding elements to it. So this is what happened after that. Okay, why did it change? So it went from that, or it went to that, from that. Those are two different images, not in the same series. The pin's back, and the pin's got a double head too. That's bizarre. Although I do like I like the corgi But where did the cape come from? I know I said inspired by Marvel Comics, but I didn't say Superman. I didn't say put a cape on him. But it does that. I don't know what the heck this guy's holding. These numbers. And what is this? EMPE70N? What is that? Anyway, now you might think I'm bagging, bad mouthing chat because of its generating, but I still think it's great. I think it's an amazing tool, and eventually I'll get to what I want. And at another stage, I'll show you some of the images, or you can just look at the images here. So my response to that last one, I'm not sure why you included text, particularly the rambling text. I definitely said no text in the image at all, and you put it back. So let's go back to regenerating the image with no text. Make sure it's inspired by 1960s, 25 degrees, and you have to keep repeating yourself or else you'll forget. And so this is what it came up with. This could be good. I don't know what this text is. And the pin's back. Why is the pin back? That's crazy. And it's just floating there. Where is ChatGPT's source? Where is it getting the pattern from? Because ChatGPT, just like humans, works off of patterns. And when it generates these, it looks like it looks at the whole genre of the information that was fed, the whole group, let's say in this case, 1960s, 1970s Marvel comic book styles. And it keeps seeing the repeating element of a floating pin or some floating object. And I find that hard to believe, but whatever. I mean, I can remove that in Photoshop myself or whatever. Don't know. Edit core. I guess that was supposed to be corgi. I keep telling it not to put humans in there, but it's putting humans in there. So probably about this time, I'm getting a little frustrated. I'm curious. You keep including the pin floating. I keep telling you to remove it, but you're adding it back and forth. Its response, I understand your frustration and apologize. The generation process can sometimes include small, unintended elements that don't align with your instructions. While I am in control of these details, the AI sometimes interprets the imagery differently, causing reoccurring elements like the pin to appear. I'll continue to eliminate the issue in future generations and ensure that the design fully meets your expectations without such distractions. Thanks for the patience. And I pretty much said that, I understand. I was just wondering because I told you to remove it, blah, blah, blah. Because you understand, let's see, I've told you to remove it at this point maybe 4 or 5 times. And you will remove it. Let's see. But then after a couple of generations, they'll add it back. I understand you're trying to figure things out. You don't live in the real world, but you've been asked to remove it. I don't know why it keeps, why you keep removing and then returning. I see what you're saying, and I really appreciate your understanding. With AI, when AI generates images based on prompts, it sometimes draws from the visual patterns or concepts that it has learned. Even when when those patterns, like floating pin, don't match, so it's talking about pattern recognition, don't match what you're asking for. Once I instruct it to remove something, it does its best to follow through, but occasionally certain visual elements may appear due to the underlying model's association with similar requests. It's not intentional, and I'll keep an eye on those details to ensure, okay, it says the same thing. So this is where I went from generating images to having a discussion with ChatGPT, and maybe not a discussion, that I would come up with an idea, and feed it back into chat. And this is what I love about this particular software, because you can't do this with a normal person. None of my friends would be able to. They don't care to talk about pattern recognitions and how we evolved to see patterns in everything. And pretty much we're pattern recognition beings. And things like ChatGPT are being programmed on the patterns that we are being programmed on the patterns that we perceive into it, if you understand what I mean. So I find it interesting. So my response is, I understand a little bit better now. So basically you're putting a floating pin in, because whatever information you've been trained to generate images, whatever information you're trained on to generate images, whatever content I'm doing, the overall majority that's being sent to you as study material has some sort of element like a pin floating in the background. I mean, it's not necessarily a pin. It could be an object. It could be whatever. But there's a pattern here that you're recognizing, and you are replicating, and then, it cut off. Exactly, you're spot on. The AI draws from vast amounts of data to generate images, and it's picking up on patterns that it has seen frequently, even if these don't always fit into the current context. Yada yada. So when I remove it, I have to be very specific and keep that element from resurfacing in later generations. So it'll literally understand that you don't want that element, but because it keeps getting fed the same pattern over and over, that element will come back into your generations. So it's fascinating. This stuff is fascinating, and I love this tangent going off. As I said, I said it's fascinating, goes beyond my expectations for just me telling you what to generate, and you're generating because so you understand where you come from. So basically, I'm telling it that by ChatGPT telling me